and welcome to In Business Talks 2. We are excited to welcome you to our bonus episode of the Friday Fix. We are your hosts Tracy and Ian Earle, founders of In Business, a networking and business support community, and together we are In Business.
Every Friday we will be discussing a business-related subject with either one of our wonderful In Business networking members or a fellow business owner who will be sharing their advice, thoughts or knowledge on a particular topic. Oh, and make sure you listen to the end of the show to hear our guests tell us about their favourite networking tip. So this week's episode is with Karen Amos of Bradford Coaching. So we're excited to welcome you to our bonus episode, The Friday Fix. And today we have the lovely Karen Amos with us of Bradford Coaching. And I think you're going to be talking to us about positive problem solving, aren't you, Karen? But first of all, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Karen. Good to have you on the show.
Hi, Tracy. Hi, Ian. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So, Karen, would you like to tell us before we start just a little bit about what you do?
What I do. Okay. So I'm the founder of Bradford Coaching and Training. I support managers and business owners to get the best out of their teams. But essentially what I do is I work on the people part of the business or the organisation. So all those gnarly people problems, all those times that teams just seem to be imploding and wanting to kill each other, I'm that person who helps sort all that stuff out. So more seriously, I usually get lots of people nodding along at that point because I think we've probably all experienced it at some point, haven't we? But it's particularly things like how to communicate well with each other, but more importantly, how to do that and still be yourself. So what I really enjoy is sort of rolling my sleeves up and working out how I can just get people to get on better at work, because I honestly don't believe that anybody should be having a bad time at work. It really doesn't have to be that hard.
Right. And a lot of people do. That's the sad thing, isn't it? As well, that's the sad thing. A lot of people are miserable at work, and you shouldn't be, really, should you?
No. I mean, okay, they have to pay you to do it. So the chances are you're not going to skip and laugh through every hour of your working day. But as you say, some people just have an absolutely miserable existence at work. And, let's face it makes some people ill. It made me ill in the past. That's why I do what I do. So I'm really on a mission to say, let's just improve working lives a little bit here.
Excellent.
Great ethos there.
Thank you.
Okay. So tell us a bit about this positive problem solving, Karen.
Okay. Yeah. So when you called your podcast Friday Fix and you asked me if I'd like to come along, I actually thought, well, let's take it right back to basics. And it's a Friday Fix is fixing a problem. Well, let's look in general about fixing a problem. I work as a coach, so I do coaching and training. But as a coach, what we essentially do is take a problem-solving approach to people's problems and help them fix them. One of the things that we use is a model, and it's quite a basic model, but it is so helpful to everybody to either coach yourself or coach other people, called the GROW model. And again, essentially all that is a problem-solving approach. So what we do is the G of GROW is goal. So what do you want as a goal? What would be a good outcome? And then the R is reality. And reality is, where am I right now? So you can see we've got, where do I want to be? Where am I right now?
Yeah.
Or for options, what are my options that I can look at and take into consideration and try out that will get me to my goal? And then W is way forward, which is, which of those options am I going to commit to and put into place to achieve my goal? Right. So can you see it's a really basic, straightforward approach. But what we do is, whether we ask ourselves the questions or ask other people the questions, as coaches then, we ask people lots of questions that drills down and finds the answers to those things. So the really important thing with the GROW model, where we usually spend the most time, isn't actually the goal. It's reality, because that's the bit that we kind of get our blinkers on about, really. So there's a question that says, so what's going on here? And that's checking, okay, what's going on for you? But the really important question is, what's really going on here?
Right.
Yeah,
There's a difference. There is a difference.
And you can almost feel it without you even thinking of something specific. You can feel that you go, oh, yeah, right. Because that what's going on here is often led with lots of excuses and other things that are going on, other complications in your life and in your world, aren't they? And that what's really going on. Here's me. I'm a person who does, as you know, lots of hand waving, and it doesn't quite come across on a podcast, does it?
It looks good to us.
It looks good though. No, you do lots of hand waving going on here, folks. Lots of hand waving.
If everybody can imagine me, what I'm actually doing is that what's really going on is kind of that dig down to the next level, because that's what we need to work on. So what I thought I'd bring to you is a little tool to add to the Grow model that's called the 5 Whys process.
Right.
And I really like little models and tools that we can use, that we don't need loads of forms and pieces of paper. We can have a biro and sheet of A4, or sometimes just do it in our own head, and it gives you the same outcome. So the 5 Whys came originally from the Japanese automotive industry, and it was a way of making processes more effective and efficient. And what they worked out is, what we need to do is not just solve what's going on, but really get to the root of the problem. Now, there's lots of these things out, and I'm going to put a bit of a caveat on here. You know, it's pretty unscientific, and it does have its critics as an approach. But as a basic approach, I think it takes us where we need to be.
Yeah, you think it's adequate then to do, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're talking about here is that the premise is, if you have a problem, if you ask, why is that 5 times, you should get to the root of what the problem is. So shall I give you an example?
Yeah,
Yes.
please do. Yeah.
So here's a common one, and here's one that many of my clients come to me with. They're overwhelmed with their workload.
Okay.
So number one, why? Why's that? Oh, I get too many emails. Okay, so why is that? Okay, well, everybody, all my staff team, and it's a big one, they all CC me in to all their emails. So why is that? Okay, well, the staff don't really feel confident enough to do things without checking it by me. So why is that? Well, when I think about it, they don't really know what to expect. So 5th why is that? Well, one of the reasons is we never get time to do a proper induction with people. Okay. Now we've got to a place that's completely different than I'm overwhelmed with my workload.
Yeah.
And you see, because that overwhelmed with workload is actually a symptom of the cause. All those other answers were a symptom of the cause. So if we work on them, we could find that we were working on them and gone in completely the wrong direction.
And do you find when you use this sort of technique on lots of your clients, then there's suddenly a flash of light, there's a sort of a blinding, do they recognise it? Sort of when they get to the 5th why, they think, oh yeah, do you get that?
It's exactly that, Ian. And as I said to you both, when I talked about, what's going on, what's really going on, you kind of feel that difference. And there is that real sort of, like you said, that flash of inspiration.
Light bulb moment.
Yeah, absolutely that. Yeah. That says, oh, yeah, okay. And actually, that's when people really do start to take ownership of the issue. There's a phrase in coaching, you can have what you want or you can have your excuses. And quite often a lot of that other stuff, if only my staff wouldn't keep CCing me in, it'll be okay. Well, that's an excuse really, isn't it? Because there's a real issue going on here. As an example, when I work through this kind of thing with people, one of the things that often comes up is that they end up being overwhelmed with emails, because they read every one. And when we get to why is that, it's because, well, to be honest, if I don't spend all my time on these emails, there's some really horrible, gnarly jobs I've got to get on with. Yeah. And it's almost a distraction technique.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way just to drill down. Now, there's one thing about this, that if we get to the final why is that, which is the thing that we should then be working on and finding a solution for, it might not be something that's in our control. So if it's not in our control, we need to go to the one above that is.
Right.
So if it's not in our control, literally, there's nothing we can do about it. So let's look at the thing that is in our control. And then what we're doing is we're going away and finding solutions. And then I'm going to find some practical solutions to put in place to solve this problem. But at least we know we're working on the right stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there might be more than one root cause. So they're almost little branches off these.
Right.
Yeah. So it might be, okay, yeah, the fifth why is that I never get time to do a proper induction with people. But it also might be, I don't know, let's say, so we say people don't know what to expect. Why? Because they get a different message from every manager.
Yeah.
Or the three bosses or whatever it is. But so can you see that there might be more than one reason for it? And that's fine. You just go away and you work on those and prioritise them. But at least it stops you wasting time solving a problem. Well, it seems like a problem, but it's actually a symptom.
Right. And what happens if you get then, this might be a silly question, but you get to the fifth why and you don't feel you've got to the root? Do you sling a couple more whys in there as well?
I was just going to say that. You always do 5 whys. Can it not be more?
It can be as many as you want. I mean, they did say, and I think, there's probably an example in there, to be honest, Ian and Tracy, that we've got to that. And we could say, okay, so why aren't we having time to do a proper induction?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, we're too caught up in this paperwork, or HR are meant to do it and we don't have enough people in that department, whatever it might be.
I suppose, it can take you in different directions then, can't it? Like you say,
Yeah.
And each branch could then have its own 5 whys.
Yeah, it can. But I think, again, there's something in there. And that's why, I'm really upfront about saying, let's be unscientific about this. Yeah. Let's just make it work. Is there something in here that we can change at this point that will make a significant impact? If there is something else we need to look at, then fine. But again, are we chasing down rabbit holes now? So again, there's something just about using your professional judgment, isn't there, and your personal judgment on that, I think. Really.
I suppose you have to assess each case as you come across it then, really, don't you? Each individual's different, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, the whole premise of it is just getting us away from jumping on the first thing, because quite often that first thing can be just an excuse for why we're not doing something else.
Yeah.
But we see it as a problem. So yeah.
Right. Oh, very interesting. Yeah. And use this technique a lot, I assume, then.
I use it all the time in when I'm coaching people individually, when I'm working with groups. I mean, it's a great exercise to use with a group, with a team.
Right.
Don't do it with a massive team. If you've 20, 30 people, you're probably just going to end up, again, chasing down many rabbit holes. But getting key people around a table, massive flip chart or something, or a whiteboard, it's a really good way to start mapping out. But what we're looking again is, like I said, we're actually, what we're checking out here is where we really are.
Right.
Now, the thing is that when we're looking at that solution, if you remember, we talked about the GROW model, is about saying, right, okay, so where do we want to be? What's our goal then?
Yeah.
How would we like it to be? Because if we don't set that out, as I say, we don't know where we're heading with it. Then we can work through the rest of the GROW model. I've got both of these things as a handout, so we can put a link with the podcast.
We'll put them in the show notes. Yeah, we'll put those in the show notes.
Yeah. So we can do a 5 whys template. And I'll also pop a copy of the GROW model in with some coaching questions as well.
Right.
So people can either use that on themselves or with other people. But hopefully that'll give people a bit of a starter for 10.
I suppose it's good to use, like you say, on yourself as well, because you can sit down and think, well, I'm doing this, but hang on, why am I doing this? Well, it's because this. Well, hang on. Well, why am I doing that? And I suppose you can work, like you say, I suppose it's equally as good working it on yourself, questioning what you do sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
That'd be very helpful. Thank you, Karen. Now we always ask our guests. Sorry, is that all you need to talk about on
Yeah,
that one?
yeah,
Brilliant.
that's fine.
That's okay. So we always ask our guests if they've got a networking tip that they would like to share with our listeners. Did we prepare you for this?
No, you didn't actually. To be fair, I wouldn't expect any different of you. No, that's fine. I have one.
Good.
Okay. Would you like to share your networking
Yes,
tip
please.
with us,
Tell us about it. We're glad you've got one. If you could just tell us, that would be brilliant.
I have one, but it's a secret. So my networking tip, which I guess really fits in with where I come from as a person and my ethos as Brightbird Coaching and Training, is be yourself. Be yourself, because everybody else is taken. So, and you spot it a mile off, don't you? You go to networking, let's face it, it's all about creating good relationships.
Exactly.
How are you going to create a good, trusting relationship when you're not even being yourself? You're actually being a bit dishonest.
Yeah.
People don't know who they're making a relationship with. So one of the things that I've been talking to people quite a lot about is about being yourself, being your best self. But he's actually saying, what if you were just good enough, just being you? Isn't that good enough? And it is. Where it goes wrong is where we start trying to be somebody else. And let's face it, it's not sustainable. It's stressful. And as I say, it's really hard for people to trust you. How can they get to know
and
you?
invariably, you get caught out doing it because you can't keep it up, can you? If you're not being you can't keep the pretense up because you forget at some point, don't you? Well, I do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there is that thing about sort of going to networking. And yes, you've got your pitch or your 1 minute or 2 minutes or whatever it is. And of course, you need to be clear about what you're going to say. But those people who read from a script and do it word for word, it's really hard to get a sense of who they are. Mm. And I just think we're better fluffing a few things or going, I was just going to say something there and I forgot what it was, than just reading out verbatim like a robot.
Right.
So whoever you are is what makes you unique.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Simple. Great tip.
Here's the other part of it that's even better. You might have a really cool accent like we do.
Indeed, you might.
Why would you not want to bring that out to the front?
Indeed not. Why wouldn't you?
Cool.
That's
a great tip. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah.
Sharon?
Gordon Bennett.
Sharon.
Sharon.
That was
myself, yeah. Call me
I'm going to have a lot of editing to do on this one, aren't I?
I was going to say, thank you, Karen, for sharing. I ended up as Sharon.
Yeah. So say it again. Go on. I need a clear one.
So that was a great tip. Thank you, Karen, for sharing.
Thanks, Karen. That was good, was that one? Yeah,
You're
enjoyed
welcome.
the conversation as well. Yeah, some useful information there that people can try out. And if you do try it, then let us know. Let us know how you've gone, if it's worked for you. Or let Karen know.
Please do. But I'm sure over time it just makes things, like I say, a lot less stressful and a lot more enjoyable. Like I say, you don't have to pretend to be somebody and concentrate on somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. And if people want to get in touch with you, Karen, how do they do that?
So they can visit my website, which is www.bright-bird.co.uk, or email me at info@bright-bird.co.uk. And I'm also on Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is Karen Amos, you can find me there, or Brightbird Coaching and Training. Give us a follow too. I regularly post tips on all things leadership, coaching, work, well-being. So hopefully there's something of value in there for people too.
You've always got something of value to say, Karen.
Excellent. Yeah. And we'll put all those, by the way, we'll put all those details in the show notes. So if people didn't catch them, they can just click on and get in touch with you.
So that's been great. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, good chat. Yeah. Should we try out the 5 whys on Tracy? Like, why aren't you making as much tea as you should be?
Oh no, this is
because I'm busy.
Why are you busy?
Because you give me some.
Yes, we'll have another chat about the nature of the whys later.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm taking it to extremes there, obviously. Thank you, Karen. That was brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed for the information.
Thank you very
You're
much.
more than welcome.
So we should just say goodbye. Don't
yeah,
we,
we'll
then?
say goodbye. Yeah. So thank you, Karen, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Have you said goodbye?
I did say goodbye.
She did say goodbye.
Did you want to say goodbye, Karen?
Goodbye, Karen.
Excellent. Well done. Well, we're almost at the end of this week's show, but before we go, we are excited to tell you about our In Business Talks 2 episode this coming Tuesday. Our special guests on Tuesday's podcast are Michelle Cowan and Bren Adams. We're really looking forward to speaking to them and digging deeper into their experiences as a business partnership.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on In Business Talks 2 Friday Fix. We really hope you enjoyed it, and if you have, all that we ask is that you simply tell a friend about the show. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, this is Ian and Tracy, and together we are In Business. Goodbye.
Goodbye.